You didn't even broadcast to the Twitter still.
Huh?
You didn't broadcast to the Twitter when you set it up.
Oh, I forgot, my bad.
Man.
You can still do it now.
How?
Hold on, let me see.
See if you can make it happen.
You can do it like that right now. Save changes. No, it's on there.
There you go. There you go.
Man, it ain't never too late, though. Come on,
It
man.
ain't never too late. Pete, what's up? You all right? What you working on your setup?
Oh no, I'm sending a quick email out real fast.
Hey, how you come in like 1 minute? What be having you behind specifically where you kind of be right there?
I just know we start at noon, so I show up at noon.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this with your grades and stuff. You do just enough to get a.
Well, I showed up 7 seconds before we started.
No,
and I was here.
No, we went live. This is live. I'm with you. Look, I can't argue with a white man about time. I never in life would do.
Well, I just don't understand what the.
No, because Pete, that Steele was saying that, not me. Don't look at me.
I didn't say nothing about Pete.
Yes,
well,
he did.
I don't have a.
I ain't saying nothing about Pete.
Role.
Why you sitting there telling stories?
I don't have a back end role, so all I have to do is talk. So I just show up when the talking time starts. That's just how I looked at it. Because you guys have other things to do. You're in the production world. I'm not in the production world. I don't know that world. That's your world.
No Ceilings Live, the lunch hour. Shout out to everybody checking in. Make sure y'all check in them chats so I can know you here. If you on Twitter, you can check in on that chat too. It all pop up so we know you in the house. It's gonna be a good day. Make sure you click the thumbs up button right there on the YouTube video. Go to the description. If Steele put it in there, I don't know if Steele put it in there.
I put it in there, man. Quit criticizing me.
I'm not being critical of you. I'm asking if Steele put it in there, cuz
I did put it in there. You said Steele put it in there, like I used to be messing up the same.
Asking because I didn't know if you did, bro.
It's in there.
Anyway,
it's in there. I very seldom make mistakes.
In the description. Subscribe to the No Ceilings podcast immediately. Check out the last episode, Conversations that Norm Steele started. It's a really great episode. And be prepared for the one Tuesday. We're going to dive into what's going on with Dirk and just what's happening in street justice in general. You know what I mean? And the difference between street justice and revenge. It's going to be a really special episode. I've been really taking some notes, so it's going to be like incredible. I mean, y'all in for a treat. We doubling back on the hip hop conversation. Let me get the homies in here. We doubling back on the hip hop conversation. We got to be real careful so we don't be talking over each other in this conversation. I don't even know if we have a 5-speaker overlay. I know we got one, but let's see if we can make it work. Okay. So y'all bear with me while I get this going because we should have probably did this before.
Yeah, we should have.
I bought the homie Twine today from the 414 Milwaukee in the house. I bought my partner Trap from Queens, home of New York. He felt some kind of way about everything that was happening. He felt some kind of way about everything that was happening last week. But we gonna move in on the conversation. We're gonna move in on the conversation.
Leave him right here. Leave him right there. Leave this biggity right here. Leave that biggity right
Trap, I tried to hold you down. They jumped me 3-1, bro.
Yeah. Pete, you let that happen too, Pete.
He's supposed to let it happen. So I'm gonna just
work on layout is that? I thought it was well, I guess that's how I gotta go.
No, I'm working on it. Y'all let me work on this while y'all looking at. Don't talk while I'm working on this. Hold on. Okay.
Go crazy, Glasses.
Okay.
Go crazy, Glasses.
Okay. Hold up, cuz I'm getting savvy with the streams. Cuz I'm savvy with the streams, baby. Hella savvy with the streams. What we doing? Shout out to Squishy. Shout out to Squab. Shout out to Mr. Green. Shout out to Smoke. What's up? Kelvin, E-Rod, man. Thank y'all for being here for this incredible conversation. The reason I wanted to have this conversation, and we got to be real careful when we talking. Let's not talk over each other because there's a lot of us here today. The reason I wanted to have this thought came up is hip hop really black culture. I didn't really care for the phrasing of it, right? But what I wanted to talk about is I was talking to my homegirl Sherry on Instagram Live. Now, I told Trap this story. Me and Sherry, and you was there for it, Twan. You met Sherry before too, Pete. You talked to Sherry before. Me and Sherry grew up in Compton across the street from each other, right? We grew up across the street from each other. Sherry's parents, her guardians would not let her cross the bridge. So in Compton, where I grew up at, it's pretty much an affluent black area. It's called the Richland Farms, home of the Form Dog Compton Crips. Daddy V is from Form Dog. But it's called the Richland Farms, to the point where I knew how to swim at 6. I know how to ride a horse at 6. But it's very much still in the ghetto. It's just an affluent place in the ghetto where people have jobs. But where I lived at specifically is on the border of a canal. And when you cross that canal, there's a bridge that was in front of my house on Caldwell that you would cross the bridge and you would go right back into regular Compton, this community called Acacia Block Crips. Regular, perverse Compton. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. Sherry lived across the street from me on the same side of the bridge that the Richland Farms is in. Sherry's guardians would not let her leave the house. They wouldn't let her cross the bridge. They wouldn't let her leave the block. So when we played with Sherry as kids, you know what I mean, we had to play with Sherry at the house. You know what I mean, in front of their house. She couldn't leave. Right? So Sherry grew up going to private schools. Right? She grew up pretty much not really socializing with the poor kids to the best of her ability because she went to a different set of schools. To the point when even the guys she dated were not guys from the community. It just didn't happen that way. Her parents kept her away from people, right? So we were having a really dope conversation about why I don't participate in politics. I'm like, if the whole mission statement of America is justice, right? And justice is rooted in harmony. The greatest injustice to happen in this country still hasn't been addressed and made right. It's never been an apology. It's never been made right. So that's why I don't vote. I don't get in the voting thing because I'm like, I don't believe in a system that won't honor the greatest injustice that's ever happened here. And I was talking to one of the homies, shout out to Relly Rail from Seattle, 206, but he was telling me his concerns and kind of making these intellectually lazy comparisons to like people don't understand white on black crime is not a crime that happens with white people and black people. Simply, that's a crime. So like if Pete broke into my house and stole my television, that's not white on black crime. White on black crime is in reference to a crime driven by race because of just being black. If there's a reason that the crime happened between two humans, it's different. If you whoop somebody ass because they are homosexual, it's a hate crime. But if you whoop somebody ass because they disrespected you and they happen to be a homosexual, it's not a hate crime. So it's a difference when we're referencing white on black crime or racial crime. There's a decent population of black America that confuses black on black crime, or they reference that as a point. And it's not a point because there are no crimes that's happening in the black community because you're black. That's not how it works. Nobody's doing anything to you because you are a brother. It just don't work that way. It's disingenuous and it's lazy. So I was explaining this and I hopped on the live with Sherry. Sherry pops on the live. She's doing her thing. She's entertaining the audience. But she felt compelled to speak on gangbanging. And I stopped her. I said, Sherry, you don't know anything about gangbanging. You've never really got a chance to enjoy, to enjoy it in the community, hanging with people to get the culture. Yes, your brothers are, but you're not asking them questions. I said, in this conversation of gangbanging, you need to ask me questions. You shouldn't be just making points when you don't quite understand what's happening in gangbanging. Like you don't know, right? And she did grow up in Compton, so it's fair for her to speak on the community that is Compton. But again, when you start talking about specifically the motivation and what's happening in the mind of people that come from this particular street urban culture, right? You don't really know, so you should ask questions. And I realized she felt entitled to speak on gangbanging because she was Black and grew up in Compton. And it hit me, and I was telling Trap, I called Trap after, and I said, Trap, that's everybody that is the same thing in hip hop. People feel like because they're Black, they're entitled to speak on what hip hop is. Like it's inherently them, or it's inherently in their understanding. And I realized that's the same thing with soul food, where people feel like that this is all a part of Black culture. And it gave me this really great conversation to start for people about the loose interpretation of hip hop being Black culture. Now, again, I can't argue with Lord Jamar. It's Lord Jamar, bro. I'm not ever, this dude is one of them dudes that really built this thing, as part of this business. He's an important factor. And what he says is pretty much dead on. But I think he's saying something that's a little bit specific and it comes across general. And I'm just at a place to where it's like I'm ready to confront it publicly. Like, at which place do we realize hip hop, which it says is HP hop, really Black culture, not hip hop still. Is HP hop really Black culture? That's hilarious.
You know what?
It don't matter. So the point I'm saying is, the point I'm saying is,
y'all, I love y'all.
No, I'm saying because I just read that. I was like, HP hop really Black culture. So
well, I messed up. Let me see. It can get fixed.
The point I'm saying is,
it's still food, dog.
Are we ready to accept hip hop as street urban culture, right? Versus just being Black culture? Do Black people inherently understand hip hop, or are they entitled to a position to speak as hip hop just because they're Black?
No. Everybody's not a part of the culture. You got some people that have despised hip hop since its inception. You have some people right now that are the polar opposite of what hip hop means. Just because you scared, you have the opportunity, you have an immediate pass to get involved. But if you've despised hip hop your whole life, you've never taken time out to understand the elements. You never taken time out to understand where it spawned from. You've been to New York, but you didn't even go to the Bronx. You went to Lower East Side. You went on Saks. You went to Saks Fifth Avenue. You can't. I don't want to hear it. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear you espousing your opinion, and you never took time to delve into the culture. No, my opinion.
Shout out to GBC Sanders. Whatever Pete is watching, he's locked in. Yes, he is. He's looking at something. Shout out to Julius, Rip City legend. If you don't vote, you are signing you and your children up for a program that will never have a chance at representation. Julius, we voted every election and really can't get this one thing together. So again, if we're not really talking about the greatest policy that matters, that would bring the greatest harmony to this country, then the whole process is a joke. It's like saying as a woman, you're guaranteed to get your vagina took, but do you want to control what color your nails are?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. That's how it is to me. If you're a part of the political process and you're the descendant of somebody, in American slavery to any real degree, and you talking like the policies is the greatest thing. It's different when Martin Luther King and people, again, when they were just at the beginning stages of Black people entering politics. It's another thing when almost 100 years into it and still the greatest injustice, even that they were fighting for then, hasn't been addressed. There's no true effort to rectify and repair the relationship with America and Black America. There's no real effort. It's a simple thing.
Well, they said that that Diddy, part of the reason why he's going through what he's going through, because Diddy was trying to make our own party, make the Black party and all that like that, so we could have something to represent for us. They were saying it's a lot of shit going through with him though, because of that too though. But the tapes also came out though too, so I don't know. That might not be the case then. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, I definitely think something is happening because they're trumping Diddy's charges up. If they weren't trumping Diddy's charges up, I'd totally agree. Like what's going on with Dirk right now, that's a pretty simple case.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Diddy is, again, you know, he has a RICO case where he's the only person a part of the organization. That's
weird.
That's just really, you know, it's just
unheard
not
of.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the only other time they did it, it just happened to be another black man. It's R. Kelly. His name Robert Kelly from Chicago. Again, they constantly keep somehow black men are the only people in the world. Black entertainers are the only people in the world that can be an organization by themselves that could racketeering and corrupt. So, you know, it's something new. It's something different. You feel me?
We different. That's what we do.
I see. Like we just 10 people all in one.
That's it.
10 people all in one, B.
We different trap.
We different. We create. You know what I'm saying? We bring new laws into the factor right there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure. So
that's it.
Shout out Adonai. Hip hop is a subsection of black culture, not black culture itself. Gospel, jazz, R&B are all subsections of the culture. If you're not a part of them, you don't understand, even if black. It's a little bit more dense than that, but I don't mind. I'm gonna let that.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind it. I'm not gonna
mind that.
debate that. But yeah, it bothered me that black people that I know that have no journey, even when we at ADHD, bro, there is, like, I was listening to, shout out to the homie Jay Nunley from the suburbs of Pittsburgh. Shout out to the homie Petty from the suburbs of Atlanta. But they were telling me the choices and options that people had in the streets. And I'm like, you don't think you don't know? Like in their mind, they like, well, I'm black. I'm inherently like a part of the conversation. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't quite know because you don't have experience in this department. And they like, well, what I did, like Jay Nunley was saying something to me yesterday, and Twine was right there. He was like, yeah, you know, when my brother went and got shot and put in a wheelchair, I decided I wasn't going to go back to the hood. I'm like, Jay, that's the difference. Like, if you can go somewhere else and not be in the hood, that makes your options and choices different. Like, there was nowhere I could go. If I walked outside, I'm in the hood. Father, mother house. There's no other place to go. I'm like, if you could drive home and you're not in the hood, then it changes the dynamic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what's happening. Like, black people in America, shout out to the brothers in America. Black America has done an incredible job, right, of elevating itself, putting themselves in better positions to earn, make money, raising their kids in better positions versus the world that we grew up in, where we was pretty much, it felt like we all grew up in the ghetto. Now there's tons of kids that grow up and not in the same circumstances. You know what I mean? And not in the same circumstances. They're in much better circumstances because of the job black parents did. Steele is a perfect example. Steele raised his kids in the suburbs. You know, his kids are not from the community. He grew up in Cleveland, you know what I mean? Cereal and water. His kids grew up in the area that he lives 2 minutes away from multi-million-dollar houses.
Shouts out to you, Steele.
Yeah, that's the job brothers have done, right? And that's dope.
That's all his wife's work. That had nothing to do with Steele. He's riding coattails.
He's riding coattails. But the crazy part is,
you made it there.
It's crazy when, like, people, you know, that's dope, and I'm happy for those people, and I'm proud of Steele. But when their kids start positioning themselves to speak on the cultures that we're referencing, they may not have a real understanding. Like, it might be hard for Chris to tell me how it is to make it out the hood.
Oh, you see how it went down last week, just having that discussion we was having.
Yes. He has no idea about true racism. A lot of these black kids, me and Trap was talking about it at ADHD. They had a lot. People act like racism didn't exist. I'm tripping. Like, the hip hop that I grew up in, right? I'm probably about 10 years younger than you, Twana, right there. Still, I'm about 10 years younger than you. The world that we grew up in, me and Trap, because me and Trap is close to the same age, even Pete, we grew up submerged in blackness. All the music we heard was black. Steele talks to me about like these pop groups that was coming out, Lil Debbie, Tears for Fears. I'm like, we didn't have none of that.
The best part of life.
Yeah, we didn't have none of that. All we had was Tupac, Snoop, Biggie, Wu-Tang. That's all we had. There was no popping white groups. You might got one Vanilla Ice song, maybe one Vanilla Ice Baby. There, we pretty much, the clothes we wore, the clothes we enjoy were all black brands. Like when you wore black brands, bro, remember, like this is the birth era. My coming into my adult years, my teenage years, is Carl Kanai, is Cross Color. You watch hip hop entrepreneurs start they rock of Fat Form, Sean John. These were the fashion statements. So we grew up in such a level of blackness that is scary, where blackness was totally appreciated versus when I became an adult, Gucci became a thing in the hood. Like it was always something that people that was getting money knew about, but it became a thing for the brokest people. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, European designers. We didn't grow up with that. So our hip hop was a lot more potent that we grew up listening to. Shout out to Forrest Bias.
G, you got to remember something. The era that me and Twan grew up in, Twan, can't you remember when it really wasn't no hip hop, when it was just really like novelty?
I literally remember the year that hip hop hit the airwaves. I remember
me too.
1979, King Tim III came out in the spring, and then in the fall, Rapper's Delight came out. Before that, it was Confunction, Parliament Funkadelic, Hall and Oates. Like it wasn't no hip hop, bro. Millie Jackson, like
I would definitely say it was a strong mix of R&B. Like he said, Millie Jackson, Bootsy,
Stephanie Mills,
Prince.
Prince was still a baby though, because Prince didn't come out till 78 when he had the long perm, when he had the For You album.
Jackson 5, a lot of that. And I remember when I first heard hip hop, but from the first time I heard hip hop, I knew I wanted to be involved somehow. The first time I heard it, like the very first time I heard it, and I remember the way I heard it, my uncle that came back, he was in the Army. And he came back, it seemed like everybody back in the day that came from the Army, they had a stereo. Everybody that came from the Army had a nice stereo system, and he came back to the crib and he was playing this tape with all this rap on it, man. I was like, what is that right there? Just like it hit my soul almost.
And that's my point. Like we grew up in that realm, bro. That's all we had. Like trap, when you in our age, that's all you really had.
That's it. That was
you didn't really have nothing else. So like, again, I think we're conflating that era of blackness with all eras of blackness. And people are growing up a lot more, what's the word I want to use? People are growing up a lot more culturally ambiguous.
Eclectically?
Yeah, like into a mainstream level. Like I watch, shout out to another brother from ADHD. Make sure y'all, get you a Clubhouse app and join the ADHD Clubhouse. It's a lot of great conversations about hip hop.
In 1995, would you have thought there would be a busy ass Starbucks in Compton?
Right. So, and it's popping. And
line out the door.
I watched the young homie Jay Will argue with me that NSYNC was better than Boys to Men, and I'm like, what?
Jay Will is special, man. Jay Will is special, man. And Jay Nunley, they both special individuals, man.
Yeah.
And my point is, shout out to Jesus Justice League. Thanks for checking in. Shout out to my guy Norbs, battle rap legend, great boxing pundit. Hip hop isn't controlled by us, so it would be hard to say it's ours. That's not true. Hip hop is controlled by us. The record industry is not controlled by us, and that's the conflated issue.
And I don't think that those two really even impact one another.
Yeah, I think you're confusing records that hip hop has versus actually what hip hop is. We control the culture. We decide what's cool, not the record labels.
There is no cool without us.
Yeah. So as far as we control the culture. You know what I'm saying? What we deliver as the culture and what's cool within it. we kind of handed over the business when it comes to hip hop to the peoples, though. You know what I'm saying? To the
Well, I
to the
don't even know if
mainstream
we
media and
handed
all
over
that.
the business as much as we started a business, right? Shout out to Russell, you know what I mean? Shout out to Sylvia Robinson, shout out to the people, you know, that were instrumental in starting the first hip hop labels. But, you know, eventually, you know, white folks got in on the coin. They was like, oh, you know what? This hip hop thing, maybe we could sell some of this seasoning. Maybe we could sell some of this flavor. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at nobody that wants to participate in the business. I have no ill will towards people who want to participate in monetizing, you know, culturally what we're talking. I couldn't be upset at that. You know what I mean? But my thing is when people who don't quite live the experience or understand what's going on feel like they're entitled to it just because of
Because
how
they black.
That's just weird. And this is what I was telling Sherry yesterday. I'm like, you don't think it's not fair for you to say, you know, you could talk about the mind state of a gang member. Like when people reference, oh, gang members are tearing up the community. And I'm like, why would you say that? Like, how do they tear up the community? What do they do? Like, what's part of the culture of tearing up the community? Like, which part of it is like, you know what, terrorize those people's house? Me and Sherry grew up at a place. Me and Sherry grew up in a place to where I appreciate that Gulf Coast connection. Me and Sherry grew up in a place people didn't break into our house. They knew not to even do all of that. So I don't understand the concept of people terrorizing the community. Gangs, how? What do they do to the community? People don't play with Miss Johnson. You don't go on Miss Johnson line. You don't sell no dope in front of Miss Johnson house. So again, I think, and it's the same blame hip hop gets. Like I always tell Trap this, hip hop and gangbanging were created right around the same time. They both have such rich offerings, but again, because gangbanging people is so primitive, you know what I mean? Hip hop, shout out to hip hop, shout out to the brothers from New York that created that because it is a higher level of expression. It's an artistic expression versus where, you know, gangbanging is straight up more about this kind of infantry amongst men that grew up in the same area. It's a military mind of how we gonna stick together and make the most out of a circumstance. You know what I mean? But they're very much the same. So I don't get, you know, if you're not informed on a matter, how do people feel so confident to speak on it?
What you about to say, Tom?
No, sir. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say we giving too many voices to people that's outside. I take this call. I'm right back. My bad, y'all.
I'm gonna mute
You're not
you.
on the front line of this. You're not on the front line of this. Like you literally haven't done the due diligence. You don't even know who Kaz is. If I ask you who Grand Mixer DST or I ask you who Lady B is, you wouldn't have the slightest inclination. You wouldn't know how to answer. You would go to Google real quick, and then you would probably come back with some half-ass answer trying to like show that you know what you don't know. And so it's just like, you know, like I don't know, man. You have to. I've learned in my elder statesmanhood to be able to tolerate certain things and not even respond to certain things based on the fact that I can hear and see ignorance like 2 or 3 football fields away, especially especially being able to hear it. Like I can hear ignorance coming from far, and I can hear short-sightedness.
Hold on, Steele.
I'm gonna tell you the worst is.
Hold on, Steele, because I want to say one thing and then I want to ask you a question. And people in the black household, forgive me, Pete. People in the black household takes ignorance as an insult.
Apologize to every time.
No, I'm saying because I'm not saying I don't know what happened in the white household. I'm saying I know in the black household, people use it. In Black America, ignorance is considered an insult versus actually saying you're not informed on a particular.
Yeah, it's a historical connotation.
Yes, that goes with it, and people put extras on it. Still, who should be able to speak on hip hop?
People that are active participants, and that don't mean that you necessarily have to be a rapper or whatever. But if you're a part of the culture, right? If that's a part of your lifestyle, because I tell you, my kids were raised in hip hop culture.
Yeah, they father.
You know, they was raised in hip hop culture. I think if it's a part of your lifestyle, because this ain't just something you do. And I'm gonna tell you the thing that used to get me mad. I actually worked as an A&R in a business, and the amount of people that are in control that don't know nothing about hip hop. I remember I was talking to an executive, I'll leave nameless, and I was like, I was talking about DJ Quick. He didn't know who he was. Had no clue.
But again, who finance or who profits off a culture is not really a person in control of it. They just make money off of it. Like hip hop, the culture of if we can all agree that hip hop is street urban culture personified through the arts, or as the brothers from NY say, the elements, then don't nobody at no building control that. They don't control what we think is cool in street urban culture. They don't determine what's cool. They can market a facet of it, but they can't tell us what's cool. Go ahead.
What did Jizza say? First of all, who's your A&R? A mountain climber who plays an electric guitar?
Yep, that's real stuff.
Mean, what better way can I define it? What better, you saying it like you laying it out right there. And I think we just need to redraw the lines, and people need to PYP, play your position. Like if you're an executive and you're on the money side of things, okay, at some point, spend some time to delve into what you've been making all this money off of, But if you haven't even taken the time out to even understand what it is that you are involved in, then bro, just take care of the money and keep your mouth shut. Don't try to offer an opinion on something that people struggle for. When Melly Meldon was doing shows for $50 and $100, you don't understand that pain. I don't want to hear it, bro.
This is a great point. Shout out to Robert Epps. White people originated basketball, but black people took over and dominate the sport. So who controls the destiny of basketball today? With all due respect, Rob, basketball is not while it can have a culture, it's not the revelations of a cultural experience. Anybody can play basketball. Now, if you asking who controls the NBA, that's a different conversation. That's a completely different conversation. Shout out to the homie Craze. $2. That's how we starting today, baby. We could get some sauce with that, Pete. Maybe for lunch. Yo, what we on? Cuz we talking about, is it fair for black people to feel entitled to speak on hip hop just because they're black? And not speak on it, speak on its behalf. No, speak for it. You know what I mean? And that's a problem. Go ahead, Pete.
Where do you perceive the boundary line to be where hip hop starts and stops? Like you're a fan, you're a listener, you're a resident, you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is worthwhile to kind of define where you're inside and outside of the circle, so to speak, because not everybody who is an artist necessarily is alienated or not a part of hip hop, So like, well, how do you kind of navigate those grounds?
I mean, let's reference it in something else related to culture. Like, let's say Mexican food. Where did Twan go? Twan, your thing is tripping. Let's say Mexican food, right? Just because I enjoy Mexican food all the time, I eat abondigas, I eat burritos, tacos, all kind of Mexican food. It doesn't give me the right to start acting like I am a Mexican person, right? So I could not create a recipe and reorchestrate Mexican food. If I created a recipe based off Mexican food, it would have some level of soul or some level of American brand like Taco Bell.
So you'd almost say it's like Chicanos having an opinion about Mexican politics in Mexico.
You know what? That's how they treated Oscar De La Hoya. For years, they would say he wasn't Mexican. They like, you American. Because this is culturally how you grew up. He said, hey, my father grew up this way and I got that teaching. They gave him shit. And his father was, you know what I mean? If I remember correctly, I don't know, his father could have been from here too. But the point I'm saying is,
you're from a very old neighborhood over there by Garfield.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's in America. So I was saying this to say with hip hop, it's like, man, I don't think most people know what hip hop is, because most people think hip hop is just the music.
Music, yeah.
And exactly. So I didn't, and it's ironically another great conversation at ADHD. We doing a hell of a lot of marketing for ADHD, which is dope. So
Thank you.
Click the thumbs up button on this YouTube video. No Ceilings Live, the lunch hour. Classes Malone, Peter Boss, my big brother Steele. Everybody is distracted. I brought the homie Twan Mack in the house. I brought the homie Twan Mack from the 414, originator of adult contemporary hip hop. Y'all make sure y'all go show him some love. Trap
What is that right there,
Rascal,
Glasses?
my brother from Queens.
What is that right
You
there,
feel me?
Glasses?
Home of New York, home of hip hop outside of the Bronx. They were second, third.
Like that.
What is that right there on my hat, Glasses?
They took the first loss in the greatest battle
in
the
Bucks.
80s. You feel me? So shout out to the teacher. I think most people don't know what hip hop is because you think hip hop is music. And I think so if we started to rule out what people should speak on hip hop from the perspective, I think you're going to knock off everybody. I'm telling you, when I was having this conversation and I realized people was like, you didn't know what hip hop was? I think they think hip hop is music.
I think we need to be clear that hip hop is an adjective.
Well,
hip hop culture, hip hop music, maybe not the same thing.
I like that. You can do things hip hop. I like it as more of an adjective than a noun.
Well, you know what?
How you do the things.
The company I was working for, they son, they actually had him as the director of urban marketing, which was really like funny to me. He told me one night, he said, well, hip hop didn't really get big until Eminem came along.
You know something? Director of urban marketing
That's
is an acronym,
hilarious,
spells the word dumb.
It's so hilarious.
Urban marketing spells the word
That's so disrespectful and hilarious at the same time.
And he didn't understand why I was upset with him for saying it. Didn't have a clue.
So another great word that seems to got lost, like hip hop or like gangbanging, is the term urban. People think urban is black.
Mm-hmm.
Urban is describing population and parameters. It is not about being black. It just happened to be black people populate, that huge percentage of people who populate that area. You know what I mean? So urban it's the same thing as like hip hop or soul food. Like soul food is not black culture. It's American slave culture. Hip hop is not black culture. It's urban street culture, artistically expressed. Gangbanging is not black culture. It's urban street culture in specific parts of Los Angeles. The first gangbanging had nothing to do with black people in California. The white fences, shout out to the homies from White Fence, shout out to the homies from Matavilla in East LA. The Mexican people, they had gangs here in the 30s.
The first gangbanging was the American Revolution, bro. The first gangbanging is Manifest Destiny when they pulled up in Virginia when they encountered the Choctaws and they gave them smallpox and liquor. That was gangbanging right there. We finna kill them and take their turf.
Shout out to everybody in the chats killing the chat. Shout out to Ryan. I appreciate you, homie. Name brand for being here. Squishy, what's the deal? Everybody that's popping. Robert Epps, hold on. Adonai R. Bruce, thank you for the $10. Okay, we got some nuggets with that sauce now.
I'm done with you,
baby.
I want a chicken Big Mac.
And Adonai R. Bruce, in order for the building not to be able to control a culture, wouldn't that mean hip hop was to not care about money as much? No, that's not. So you're conflating two things. The building sells records. They don't sell culture. Adam 22 sells street urban culture. Hip hop sells records. The record companies sell records.
Yeah,
that's
the record industry is like an infrastructure. It would be like the land.
So
like the person who owns the land where the studio is, who charges you rent, and then you charge it out per hour to the producer. The guy who owns tax lot number 1235 doesn't necessarily give a shit what you do in there as long as you pay the rent.
Shout out, Mac. You ain't like that, huh?
I despise it, bro.
You ain't like Twan Mac. Ain't like that.
Hold up, I'm gonna see what Twan Mac didn't like. Shout out to Name Brand. As great as Jordan is he hip hop? No, Jordan is not hip hop.
No,
he told you out his mouth.
Jordan's shoes could be considered hip hop.
Mike Tyson is hip hop.
Yes, there you go. What did Twan like? Kick here. What's happening?
He ain't like that Adam 22 thing. He ain't like that Adam.
Wow, because you gave me because it quickly made me recollect to what I seen on Adam yesterday, kissing the pregnant sister's belly, and talking about he a real rap, bro. Like we at an important time. We at a crossroads. We are in a civil war right now for this culture, bro. It's people literally trying to pull the culture right from up under us and play games with it, and they doing it. It ain't in real time. They doing it right in front of our face, bro. And it's like they have no reservations about it. And to a degree, many people, a lot of these executives, a lot of these people that chase the bag so vehemently and they just gotta have a bag over the culture, they're complicit in all this bullshit. And so when you bring up, dude, like, bro, like, I just have reservations for that, bro. And that word that you brought up the other way, Glasses, I'm gonna get out the way. When you said, remember we talked about rapper in that other in the other word?
Sure.
Yeah.
The hard ER word.
The hard ER word.
Nigger puff.
I'm not your nigga. Yo, let me. Well, you don't think Adam 22 could be like what's your man from NBA Inside stuff or the show that they do with Shaq and
he's not Ernie, bro.
He's not Ernie.
He's not Ernie.
Oh, he's talking about old school of Myra Shah.
He's mocking us, bro.
Ernie ain't never played the NBA.
He's mocking us, bro.
I mean, okay. I really, so the thing with Adam is this, right? Are we talking about Adam as the businessman or Adam as the personality? If we're gonna have that conversation, because there's two different.
Dude, I don't know his personality. I just know.
I mean, you know the personality of him being his streamer.
Yeah, his.
That's what I'm saying. We talking about. Okay, No Jumper has shifted. Remember, like Adam is a biker. Now I don't know about BMX biking out there. I think he's from like Connecticut or Delaware or somewhere like.
Yeah,
not Vermont.
Right. So out here, skaters and bikers can represent another joint of street urban culture, right? Which is what we talk about with our future. So with Adam, it's like this. I don't know what Adam started selling when he first started No Jumper. I sat down with Adam in 2019 for the first time. He had a bicycle shop on Melrose. That's where he started. And he just pretty much talked to people that made music, some hip hop, some punk rock, some hip hop, some punk rock, skaters, other people from different realms of street urban culture, a real vast realm of it that expressed it artistically or did it professionally as skaters, bikers, blah, blah, blah. That's how he started, right? He had a really dope bike shop on Melrose. When they started to rebrand No Jumper, right? He brought in some brothers that came from the lifestyle, right? Shout out to the homie AD from the community. He from Lantana Block and Compton. Shout out to T-Rail. He from Fadoos Hoover. They both got their own things. He moved into a space of getting street urban personalities now to start conducting shows, right? So now the conversations move from artistic or professional expressions of street urban culture, like through artists, right? And through, people that did all kind of, crazy sports, right? What you call them sports? It's a word for them kind of sports.
What, like extreme sports? Extreme
sports, right? He went from showing the people that express those things to actually just the people. So, again, hip hop serves a meal, food, right? Hip hop serves a food and you season it. Now, we could question the food like drill music. Shout out to Jadakiss because he said something I didn't agree with. Drill is the worst genre. I don't agree with OG, but it is Jadakiss, and that dude can say what he wants because he is a pillar in this thing. But we could talk about the fact that we don't like chitlins, but when people only have pig guts to eat and they season them up well enough for other people to buy them, right? I have to respect it, right? Because that's all it is to a degree chitlins. And I like chitlins. Now, that don't mean I can eat them, Twine, because, right, like I know what they do to your health. But again, I can't be mad at somebody turning their trauma, somebody leaving them pig guts into a business. It would be disingenuous of a black man for me to do that. I can't do it, right? So as Adam moved on and he got homies from out the spaces, changed their lives, right? It's Adam, AD, shout out to AD. He found a lane where he's able to kind of support his family by just giving his perspective based off experience. Same for T-Rail, right? These dudes now have alternate ways to make income. That invited Adam into the conversation of us. And this is what's happening In hip hop, right? It's the same thing, right? It's the same exact thing where when you want to monetize the struggle, like the Colonel got his recipe because I'm sure some slave cooked chicken for him for money. Somebody who perfected that recipe that the KFC that the Colonel stole, he paid them to cook for money. So even in Adam's situation, right, in his case, right, he got his first brothers that come from the culture specifically, that are voices of the culture authentically, right? He hired them. Sharp is actually a real pimp, and he a street dude that race cars. AD is a real Lantana Block Compton Crip. T-Rail's a real Fadus Hoover who has a extreme, he has an extreme understanding of fashion, a supreme understanding of fashion. He hired these people, and that brought the conversation into his realm. Now, go ahead.
You ever heard how Korean fried chicken came about?
No, I'm interested though.
Educator strap.
All right, so when the black man was over in Korea and we was at war and all that, right?
Yeah,
they was fiending for some fried chicken, right? So they ended up showing the young ladies, the Korean ladies, how to make fried chicken. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
And then from that point on, you get Korean fried chicken. They took the fucking sauce and made their own shit. It took our shit and made it into their shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So for me, I was saying what Adam is.
They gave him the sauce.
Yes.
They gave him the sauce.
He
didn't come with no sauce. They gave him the ingredients.
Yes. And then how can I truly be totally upset? Like right now, he has people from the culture there. So that makes him a part of the conversation. Now, there is a level, Twine, I'm with you, as far as being a man. This is minus the cultural conversation. But men have to hold other men accountable. So if every brother he's sitting around or across from is not holding him accountable, he's able to cause chaos. Why would they not hold him accountable? Because somewhere along the line, they think they're going to benefit another way.
So let's take this to the south side of Chicago in the last 10 years. And let's talk about, because what you said right there, it basically harbors on complicity. And when you talk about these 4 or 5 figures that are from the hood, they from the soil, and they basically gave this dude a pass to do what he's been doing and what he's doing right now. At what point in time do we apply our moral compass and our ethics and say what you might be doing for these 4 or 5 individuals in terms of improving their life immediately and their ability to not miss meals, or I'm sure that none of them was missing meals prior to Adam, right? But to improve them and take them to a higher level financially, which is fine for me. I wish that for everybody. But at what expense for this dude to clown us, for this dude to basically like stoke the fires of gang wars and basically show us at our lower selves and the profit off of that, profit greatly off of it.
So the question is, at which place do you determine that you want to hold him accountable? When do you stop sitting across the table from him as a sense of exposure and decide that this is a problem? Because don't get me wrong, I do be on Lil Bro. I do be on AD. I do be on his ass. You know what I mean? I'd be like, bro, this is your fault. Did
you see what he just did yesterday, Glasses?
No, I don't even want to go into that, because if Adam just be doing goofy stuff all the time and I always be disappointed. But what I'm saying is I blame AD and T-Rail, right, initially. That's true. And I'm right to do that. I'm right to blame Lil Bro, and I'm right to blame the homie T-Rail, right? Because when people were trying to hold him accountable early on, when this was first happening, right, they were not stopping him. And I was like, y'all should let somebody get to him so he can see if you say something, right, that you need, it may come with repercussions. You can't just say what you want to say. Like me and homie Problem argue about this all the time. He feel like people can say what they want to say. And I'm like, no, you can't. That's the difference with street. Street means you're held accountable for things you're saying. In regular mainstream America, like where regular people come from, you can say what you want to. It's not against the law, as long as you don't put your hands on somebody. But the ghettos that we grew up in, the ghettos we grew up in, you can't say what you want to say. So again, where worlds are clashing. This is this small world that we're from, this small island that we're from called the streets or street urban life, right? This is a small island. The rest of it is like this big population of people that are used to saying what they want to say. So you're seeing worlds start to like, you know what I mean? Not collide, but almost blend, you know? And so like the same people that would be encouraging Dirk and saying he didn't get back for Vaughn, right, will be the same people saying he was stupid to go to jail, because you got a bunch of people who this is just a TV show to them. So again, back to my point, I digress with AD, right? I do blame AD and T-Rail, but I'm going to tell you why it's not their fault. Everybody who sits across from him and don't hold him accountable for the things he says as a man coming from our background, but they're also adopting the same personality of saying things and believing it won't be consequence. This is a world being blended together, a mainstream world, which eventually gentrifies hip hop. And eventually you don't have hip hop. You're going to gentrify it. Shout out to Adam A.R. Bruce. You've been a great contributor, bro. I don't know who you are, but I'm glad you're here. The things you're saying are amazing, homie. Content creator coaches are training new content creators to build their brand off Black culture. First, to get their numbers up, first, according to just pearly things. That's where Adam came from.
So at no point in time do I expect this dude to do a 180 and all of a sudden, no jumpers is about positivity. And we talking about organic grassroots hip hop and we talking about backpack rap. That's not going to happen. They thrive off of the debauchery. They thrive off of the lower self. And how I parallel that with what I was talking about when I talk about the South Side of Chicago. Those same people, these same executives that went and found L.A. Capone, may Allah be pleased with him, that went and found Lil Reese, that went and found Lil JoJo, that went and found Dirk, on and on, that found Chief Keef and then moved him to Calabasas. Those same people, while I hold them accountable, I hold the people that basically have a say-so in Chicago and basically saying, hey man, we about to get out the hood. But what at expense? Look what just happened yesterday. Look what happened the day before with his OTF comrades. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The expenses that come along with this debauchery that we consistently participate in, bro.
But the confusion that something happened bad yesterday. Nothing bad happened yesterday. Somebody being accountable for breaking a law is standard.
Okay.
It's not bad or good. It's just harmony. Right? That's normal. If you get somebody, like, that situation is a really deep one, and I don't want to speak on it because again, we don't got the whole case, but nothing bad happened yesterday. This is a standard thing that if somebody thinks you are a suspect of in this societal realm, you feel me? Especially crossing state lines, it's a federal case. That's pretty standard. So I can't say nothing bad. Like when two people get into a shootout and somebody die, I don't look at it as bad. Somebody lost.
Shooting guns.
What are you doing? Now, when an innocent kid gets hurt in the middle of something, now I'm like, hold on, that's not right. But if kids is out here playing cowboy, you know what happened to Cowboys, right?
Yeah. If there was somebody to intervene 5-6 years ago when they saw where drill was going, when they saw like these cats is really talking about, I'm putting this dude in a loud pack and I'm smoking him. If somebody here we are, 2024, Friday, what is it today? The 24th, the 25th?
25th.
Right, October the 25th, 2024. And what started over 10 years ago or so, it's coming to a head and we're seeing the repercussions behind it. So while you may say, Glasses, that nothing bad happened, I look at it like this. What if, and we won't, I'm not, like you said, I'm not going to get off into all the particulars about it, but I'm going to say this. What if funds and talent and influence had been used to turn things around as opposed to exacerbate already bad. Like Chicago started gangbanging in 57 with the conservative vice lords, okay?
Sure.
And so having said that, even then when it was started to uplift the community, walk mothers home from school, walk mothers home from work, get old ladies across the street, breakfast programs and lunch programs for children, so on and so forth. It wasn't started to kill other black people. That's not why it started, okay? So here we are in 2024, and we have a recording industry that's feeding itself off of black suffrage and black plight. And you also have some black people that are very complicit in it. So that's what I'm saying. When you say nothing bad happened, this is the culmination of many things, in my opinion. And so regardless of whatever happens in this brother's case, in my opinion, it just could have went a different way, man. LL, I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna do this for Queens right quick, and I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna get out the way.
Sure.
LL was hanging with Alpo. LL was around Rich Porter. LL was around Supreme. 45 years ago, or however long ago, when LL was 15, 16 years ago, he could have made the same decisions that Dirk and them allegedly made. He could have. Yes, he could have. No, yes, he could have. Yes, he could have, Glasses.
Hold on, Twan.
Yes, he could have.
No, he couldn't have, Twan.
Yes, he could.
I'm gonna tell you why he couldn't, Twan. Because he was never Dirk walking into the situation.
How do we know?
What do you mean? How do we know?
How do we know that LL? We don't know that LL was a straight A student or whatever.
I'm not know that. I'm not saying if he was a straight A student. I'm telling you, some people are just in the streets, and what happened was, right, when hip hop started, right, there were people who just took it up as the art itself, and that became their thing. Versus somebody like Dirk, who was already trying to make his way through the streets in a different way, found hip hop and it saved his life.
Queens in the 80s was different, bro. I was popping in and popping out. It was different, bro. He had an opportunity to go that way. He could have sold some red tops. He could have busted. He could have did a lot of stuff. He was around them dudes. Trap, jump in and say something, man.
No,
I'm listening to y'all.
Listen, I'm saying he probably did sell some real tops, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he just got lucky and didn't go to jail for whatever he did.
Right, but he doesn't have to be LL 40 years later. He could have been different. LL could be on a t-shirt right now if he made certain decisions.
I'm telling you, he could have made them decisions and just didn't end up on a t-shirt. Just like me and you. You get what I'm saying? Like, we come up this way, and it's hard for me to be hypercritical of a person that come from where we come from who don't. It's easy for us to say right here, you got money, it don't matter that your partner got shot. It's easy for us right here to say that. It's easy for us to sit right here and look at that dude and say, you should have just let it go. You rich. Who care if King Von got shot? You shouldn't do nothing about it because the system. That's easy for us to say that. But let something happen to one of our loved ones. No, I will never understand the world where, feel me, like, yes, we don't trust in the justice system. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm not making excuses for Adam. I'm just giving you the reality of the thought, the reality of the conversation. The reality is people go to Adam to talk. It don't make Adam right, and it don't make people wrong. But also, we got to know what comes with empowering people with our seasoning. It's a choice. I give my homies the same talk. Me and my younger boy, son Troy, finna do a podcast. I give him the same talk when they put people on. You know what come with putting people on the set? When you let people bang the 7, bro, you know what that means? They are now responsible for your life. Decisions they make could cost you your life. Now, why everybody is not thinking that is different, but it's easy for me or you or Pete or Steele or Trap to say, you know what, he's stupid, man. He should have just had his money. It didn't matter that they killed Von on television and everybody saw your best friend get murdered and you should have did nothing. Fuck that. I'm not going to say that. I don't give a fuck about violence, Twan. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I know what it's like to lose a homeboy, and I'm going all out for mine. And I don't give a fuck if it's jail behind it. I'm not trying to be friends, and I'm not trying to live my life free. I'm trying to make sure I live my life to where people don't fuck with me and mine. Living on my knees ain't living at all. So I'm not making excuses. I don't want you to think I'm making excuses for anybody that participates, but I want you to also be honest that people are participants. And it's not because they're ignorant all the time. Sometimes they think that this is worth it. So again, I don't know what happened on that particular case, but my issue is when people who are speaking on it that don't quite understand what's happening. So again, even with L could have did, who knows what L did? L might have knocked somebody off, win the rap, and got away with it. Now we at 40 years later. He could get picked up on a case that happened in 83, and we'd be like, oh my God, they got L.
Stop.
No, for real.
Like,
over there hiding in his grandma's basement.
You feel me?
Not outside.
That's how you talk. That's how you gonna talk about the King of Queens.
I'm just saying, B.
That's how you doing
it. LL, listen, homies out here
in his grandma's basement.
Homies out here.
Gotta be hiding, Trap.
Homies out here say L was on some stuff. Who knows what L did? So again, it's easy for us to look back and say somebody's stupid now. Oh, this person's stupid. Oh, Dirk is stupid.
I would never call him stupid.
Listen, if Dirk did what they accused him of, I get it. They murdered your man on in front of everybody. We all saw the tape on television. We saw the tape.
I get it.
Feel me? And if you want to go to hell and high water to get some justice for your partner, feel me? What am I gonna tell you? I am not one of them old men that's gonna say, well, you know what? Trust of the American government to get justice for you. I can't do it. It's just too Uncle Tom for me. It ain't gonna work for me. It's foolery. I'm not going to tell you that lie. I don't care if it encourages you. You make your decision. If getting that level of revenge or street justice is important for you, and you okay with paying the consequence when it's time to go to prison, man, that's on you.
I understand that. That's my stance. I completely understand that. But what I want to say in response to that is that at what point is enough enough? At what point, who eventually becomes the bigger person? Because all it's doing is hurting Black people. All it's doing is making it a mother that's in the same social economic position as the mother of the alleged assailant. They both in the same boat. Like Duck's mom versus whomever is responsible for killing Duck. Their mothers are in the same social economic situation. They still got to go through the same. At what point does anybody step forward and say, you know what, man? And I know this is very hard because everything that you just said makes all the sense in the world. I have friends.
I'm not saying when is it enough. I don't know. Maybe somebody will think about somebody, mama. When your friend died, I don't know if that's the thought. Like, I don't know. I don't have the correct answers.
But I get what you're saying, though, Glasses. I totally get what you're saying.
What I can tell you is I understand. I really don't understand when somebody chooses freedom over justice. I don't know how people could live on their knees and live on their knees versus dying on their feet. That will never make sense to me. Now, I'm not saying that's the consequence. That was happening with what happened with Von, Dirk, and all of these people and all of this stuff. I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm telling you, I can understand if this man got upset that they murdered his friend. They murdered his friend, and he said, I want them niggas dead for that. I can understand that. Now we live in a society that says that's against the rules. So now you got to be okay with the consequence of violating society. That's the trick. That's what the difference with when it all comes down to it, Twan. That's my point about real life street urban culture. It's masculinity, and masculinity is defined by accountability. People think we brag about going to jail as if that's some kind of thing. Oh, you went to jail. No, it's I didn't take the punk route and tell on somebody to avoid being accountable. People think snitching is about, oh, well, you know what? I didn't say nothing because da. No, it's because snitching is when it was time for me to be accountable for whatever I'm being charged with, I didn't go say somebody else did something to avoid accountability. That's the cornerstone. So a lot of things in street urban culture, you feel me, is different. And I agree. Shout out to Cousin Pookie on the couch. None of this is exclusive to hip hop. It's not. It's standard in any walk of life where people pride themselves in masculinity in the most toxic or primitive sense. Accountability. Some people don't believe in accountability. They will do. It's people that work at y'all job. Shout out to everybody. This is the No Ceilings Live lunch hour.
Lunchtime.
You feel me? We up in here 12 to 12 Pacific Standard Time, entertaining you for your lunch hour, right? It's the dude that y'all sitting next to at y'all cubicle. Shout out to everybody killing the child. S.A. Max, New Kim, Name Brand, Cousin Pookie on the couch, Robert Epps, everybody. It's somebody that work at your job at the next cubicle that do not want to be accountable. He done stole your stapler. And you asked the man for your stapler back. He act like he don't got it. He tucking your stapler. It's people at your job that's telling right now that you came in late. It's people doing a lot of punk stuff because they punk people. The one thing I always respect about the streets and Steele and people be on my head saying I'm too street is the accountability. And when you violate accountability, it's the most un-street thing you can do.
Yeah. And I think I like to kind of bridge the two of your points. There just needs to be an honest assessment of values. What do you value and what is the cost? You know, if you value more of a short-term emotional fulfillment paradigm versus a long-term outlook paradigm that sacrifices some of the feelings you might have along the way, that's fine. There are benefits and costs to each. There's an argument that could be made to pursue each. Just honestly lay them out on the table, make an adult decision as to which one you prefer.
That's it. And that's what I'm saying, Twine. So even with Adam, I'm not defending Adam. Like, you know what I mean? It's not about me defending Adam. If what's the homie name from the Chicago that was across the table from him that they were just arguing?
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but
because he combed his hair right on the spot.
Yeah.
But you can't say nothing once you don't. If you keep trying to make the confusion with Adam is he don't know. Adam knows exactly what he's doing. There is no mistakes on what he's doing. It's not by accident. So if you're going to sit across the table, you know that there could be disrespect coming. You gotta know that, and you gotta be okay.
On emotionally driven drama.
Shout out to Ruger. That's his name, Ruger. If Ruger stops, Ruger is trying to explain to him what he's doing wrong. Ruger, he know what he's doing wrong. He doing it to you on purpose, cuz.
To him, he's doing it right.
He's not confused about what he's doing. He know what he's doing, and he's doing it to you on purpose.
3:54 p.m.
And glasses.
So he sit across from him. You know this can come with this, and you better be able to respond appropriately.
And glasses, like somebody that you know, that we know that's on there all the time, that basically helps quarterback the situation. We had a conversation with him one day, and this is why I learned to respect this person. I don't have to like what they do, but they spelled it out. Trap, we was in the room one day, and he was like, "Man, this ain't about. I don't give a damn about no culture. I'm not about the culture. I'm about the money." Remember that, Trap?
So, but he told you that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So right then and there, I got a clear understanding.
Man,
I got a clear understanding of who he is and what he's about, and end the conversation because you've already spelled it out to me. You're not about the culture, and the only thing you care about is that check. I understand that.
But his movement said that the whole time.
But see, I'm not privy to his movement. I had only heard about him. I didn't know
on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to it. Honestly, bro, if it ain't talking about that shit, if all of it's talking about is hyperbole and all it's talking about is lower self shit, it might it might pass across my table, but I'm not subscribing to it and I don't really give a shit about it. And so, like I said, I needed to be educated about it, and he educated me really quickly. He educated me really quickly. This is not what I'm about. I'm about my bread.
Shout out to Adonai.
I don't care about the culture. That's what he told me.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the truth. It's funny because I told Big U that before, but the whole nother story. Adonai R. Bruce, I think I'm pronouncing your name right. Adonai R. Bruce. Glasses, then the way you are explaining it is how it needs to be rapped about. Saying I caught a body last week on a timestamp digital song makes it something else. It doesn't. You asking somebody that's 44, sober, decently read, decently traveled to explain something that somebody is 16 from Chicago to understand. That's probably on, opioids. You know what I mean? Like, you asking him to have the clarity of explanation that I'm having. That's not going to happen. And you shouldn't expect. It's like going to a ninth grade basketball game thinking you're going to see NBA highlights. You should change what you listen to. Stop listening to people that's giving it that simple if you deep enough to understand more. But if you go to a ninth grade game and watch people hoop, You're going to get 9th grade highlights. Come up here with the big boys, you're going to get NBA highlights. Because my understanding of this culture that we do is at another level. So no, stop watching little kid games thinking you're going to see adults. If you look at a little dude from Chicago who came from poverty, he already on dope and he doing drugs and he trying to survive this. He in a war, he's a soldier. It may not be as clear as you would like artistically. He's somebody that he's traumatized in ways that he cannot explain. There's a million things. So why are you listening to him? It really exposes the piece of shitness in people. And then they try to blame the person. How do you blame Keith? Look at Keith. Why are we blaming the labels? Why are you listening to a 16-year-old person describe an element? Why? That's your fault. I would never go to the park league where the little kids is playing and be talking about they not hitting threes like Steph Curry. Come to the big boy game if you want to see it. Come up here. Come up here at the level. Come to the NBA. You keep watching these little kids, you're going to get little kid moves. Simple.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miss 702, $25. Oh, we eating good today. G. Malone, finest alkaline vegan holy water on me. Thank you so much, baby. That is in the house. And we are
getting 2 chicken Big Macs.
You feel me? That part. I'm gonna send them things to your house.
Better stop this one, man. Better stop that. I'm gonna be back in a minute, y'all.
It won't happen.
It
won't happen.
So yeah, that's my point, fellas. And
you make like I said, Glasses. When you articulate it, it makes a lot. It makes sense. Bro.
I don't want you to think that we're on. It's not. I'm saying I understand. Like again, I would never go to these little kids and think I'm gonna see grown-up games. That's what made Nas special.
Yeah,
he was an 18-year-old dude talking like he was 50.
Yeah.
If he was an 18-year-old dude talking like he was 18 years old, shit.
I don't want to hear that.
Was LL Cool J, right? And that was 10 years before that. So again, you feel me? Like, if you go to these little kids, you go get little kids. I don't know how y'all listen to some of these people talk and think to yourself, let me listen to them talk. I don't know what y'all be doing as fans. I look at these people and immediately change. Like, these people full of shit. But I also, you know what I mean, have something more to pull from. I'm not at the 9th grade. I'm not at the freshman game expecting varsity highlights. I'm not at the freshman game expecting collegiate highlights. I don't care how nationally televised. And that's y'all confusion too. Y'all feel like because the game is nationally televised, that means you're supposed to watch it. That's your bad. The only basketball I watch? Professional.
Okay.
I don't watch college. I don't want to go watch high school. I don't want to go to the park, AAU. Let me watch it at the highest level. I don't want to watch it at no other level. And I for sure, that's how the fans sound to me, Twine, when they complaining about drill. Them is little kids. What you thought you was finna get? You was finna get 30 years of wisdom? These little kids. Chief was like 16. Reese was like 18. What you thought you was gonna get?
I get it. I understand their situation, and I understand. My issue has always been with the executives that know ahead of time what they're doing. I heard Leroy Cohen say a couple months back, I got a family to feed.
Yeah, but him selling. I think there. Okay, I agree. I think there is.
He said that.
No, but I think there's accountability to be held on Leor's part. Shout out to Leor because he's from LA and he's instrumental in hip hop. He do some really crafty stuff. I talked to him one day on this. That'd be a dope person to have on the podcast is Leor. But yes, there is accountability to be had for Leor, right? There's a ton of accountability to be had for Leor, right? But then there also needs to be accountability had, right, for the fan that supports it.
We comfortable with our lower selves right now, bro. We've been having that discussion. We comfortable
right now? Listen, this ain't right now. This is permanent.
No, I get it, but see what I'm saying. My point out of all of this, I'm even guilty of it. Lo, I love. I'm guilty of it. I love Stove God Cooks. I love 38 Special. I love Rock Marciano. But out of all of them, I appreciate Ransom the most. Because Ransom is he's a different dude to me.
I like
they
boxing.
all different, but he's different.
I like boxing. Boxing is two men punching each other in the face. Again, I'm really careful with how critical I am over what people enjoy. I just don't want to hear people complaining about it later. I don't hear enough drill songs. I don't stop and press play. When I'm on my little Apple, it's only gonna be Chief and Reese songs in there. I didn't even make it to Dirk. I heard 4 or 5 Dirk songs. I won't even play it. I'm like, okay, this a little too, no. I already got enough of that.
I confess to you that I'm a little Reese fan. One of the best dudes out of that whole drill movement was a dude named L.A. Capone. I thought he was finna surpass all of them, but somebody killed him, I think, coming out of the studio. Little dude was cold. He was ambidextrous with what he was doing. To me, he was better than a bunch of them to me, just from my standpoint. But I get everything that you're saying, Glasses.
No,
I get
because
it.
I think we agree, Twan. I'm just giving you perspective.
No, it makes sense.
Shout out to V Need. Oh, V needs his. Oh, that's fire.
That's
I like
dope.
how you did that.
That's super dope.
I need mine too, V. That's fire, bro. Thank you for the $20
$2.
when you bring G Perico on the show. I'm gonna do a live show with G Perico. I'm gonna get with Pete because that was the plan. To do a live show with G Perico.
Yeah, like we're going to like live in studio or all.
Yeah, we're gonna do we're gonna do a live thing where we have people come out.
Oh,
yeah, I want to do that. So
like really live.
Yeah, we're gonna do a live joint for Perico. We're gonna do something special. It's gonna be the first No Ceilings live. I'm thinking at the top of the year. I haven't talked to Pete about it, but it's been on my mind for about a month. Shout out to my boy DT from the Annas. Time to talk about solutions. We already know the issues. I agree with you, DT. Kelvin, it's too many people that love to watch and listen for the negativity. Kelvin, you know what? I might don't like drill, but guess what I do like? John Wicks. I watched John Wick murder 400 or 500 people in every film, and I love every second of it. But I'm also not going to talk shit when people get murdered. I'm just like, look, whatever. If somebody innocent got murdered, that's the only time I'm going to say something. Some little kid, somebody don't got nothing to do with it. If you in the middle of this and it's just your day, you punch your ticket, brother. That's how it go. We shorten we can't live forever.
I can't get enough of watching. There's No Country for Old Men.
You feel man? That little crazy man with that nail gun. I'm like, what is up with this man?
Anton.
I've had my visions of going on a mission.
That, Pete?
I'm going to write. I wrote a movie like that. I've been writing a movie where I just go, like, I get diagnosed with some terminally ill something, and I just go get everybody, the person at Walmart that keep the stuff locked up and I have to wait 30 minutes, that person. Like, I've been writing a movie for this.
That's a combination of that and falling down into one.
Exactly. It's the same movie. Shout out to Miss 702. Wu-Tang changed my whole world. Jizza was a scholar. Not most popular, but most influential on his group members' knowledge and lyricism. That is true. And Jizza is outstanding. Shout out to the genius. Amber Walls, these traumatized kids with mics are now influencing the other traumatized kids of our culture. I think that's kind of an issue too. The problem is we don't got to deal with the trauma. We can't get mad that the traumatized kids are painting pictures and say you need to paint something different. Deal with the trauma. Deal with the fact that they don't have a career. Deal with somebody 13 got a $2,000 gun. Let's really have the real conversations. But once you let something go crazy, it ain't no need to talk about it's going crazy now. You can't pull it back. Shout out to New Kim. Stove God is dope.
Stove God is crazy dope.
Shout out to MJ. We appreciate the non-black rappers that have not succeeded and pose no threat to our black artists. Simple and plain. We appreciate them and them, so I totally disagree.
Where are the Pakistani artists that drill? Where are the white artists that drill on each other?
Shout out to my childhood partner, Rick. I'm late, but here because of the title and to answer the question. Yes, it's black culture. I respect the clickbait, though. Yeah, Rick, I'm going to call you. We had that conversation after.
Hey, Lo.
Shout out to Adrian. Ransom dope as fuck. I'm getting through these.
Ransom
Shout out to Tyson Garcia. RJ Payne is fire. Yes, he is.
RJ Payne is crazy.
Shout out to Robert Epps. We are supposed to learn from our mistakes or we will make those same mistakes over and over again.
Actual facts.
That's true, but sometimes it ain't no mistake.
Wow.
Shout out to cousin Pookie on the couch. I disagree with one thing, Glasses. The Lear Cohens and those of his ilk must take damn near all of the blame. I totally disagree. Not all of the blame. They take some blame, though, for sure.
They don't have the ability to put that music out if we don't make that music.
Yeah. Or and again, it's like we got to be okay with some black people's perspective of how we come up. Like, I listen to people that talk about gangbanging. You would think somebody die every day. That's how they talk.
I did. I used to last before.
Some niggas die every day. I'll be like, bro, it's more days in the hood like Friday than when Ricky got shot. But again, that's my perspective, and it's what makes it unique.
That's why people do it, because the majority of the time is good.
Yes.
No one would sign up for that for
exactly
the opposite.
Shout out to DT. We were these kids. Exactly, DT. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a bad, I can't get into it. Shout out V need his $2. There's drill music in Ukraine. I know I've been hearing. That's crazy. Shout out to my brother from Compton, Gino Boss, for the $10. Oh, yeah, we got some chicken Big Macs to go around, baby.
Chicken Big Macs. What did I start? What the hell are you doing? What is this shit, Pete?
Chicken Big Mac dance.
Chicken Big Mac dance.
You gotta have like one of those corny cartoons, TV commercial dances.
Oh, look at that.
The Holy Quran says that trials purify. They can.
Absolutely.
Everybody want to be street till the street stuff get real. It's the same thing. I get it. I swear to God, Kelvin, you got to be okay. You got to be okay. You have to be okay. Like, and this is what I was telling Twan. I can't be upset. Nothing bad happened yesterday. If Dirk got improperly charged, he'll fight a case. Now, if he was improperly convicted, that's bad. But if Dirk, did it, this is the society we live in. We know it is outlaws that it could lead to us going to jail. Those are choices we make. He made the choice. If that's his case. So accountability is I'm not whining about accountability. Like, I refuse to, you can't do it. Like, you can't. That's like when people do something, they go to jail and cry. Stop crying. Think about what you're going to do before you do it. Some artists is really their truth, but I refuse to believe all these artists is like that. I don't even believe it's one artist that's always telling the truth. I don't even think it's nobody's truth. It ain't no hood in America that every day somebody gets shot. You know what I'm saying? The only people I believe 100% is the junkies. The junkie rap, I believe that they doing all them drugs they talk about.
It's like the local news. Are the stories false?
Junkie rap.
All the junkie rap, I believe the junkie rap. See, to me, that would be the worst genre of hip hop, junkie rap. They just ain't titled it yet. But all the junkie rap, I believe all the junkie rap. Every line. I'll be like, woo, they mixing some stuff.
You cold.
Shout out to Miss 702 Pete doing his money dance. That's the Big Mac. That's the chicken Big Mac.
It was supposed to look like a South Park, character, like with the big head, but I just don't have a big enough head.
Pete, I'm gonna snatch that and make it a meme, bro.
Hey, for real. The chicken Big Mac dance. We need to get that. McDonald's need to come back to the table.
Hey.
Seriously.
Look, I want to give a shout out real quick before you move on.
Yeah.
My brother from another mother. You've been my man since 84, 85. He founded Life Music. He helped put some of the bricks in the Atlanta music scene in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm talking about my brother Speech Thomas. Today is his birthday. That brother has been taking me worldwide. Yeah, Speech, Todd Thomas, Mr. Tennessee, Mr. Window, Mr. Everyday People. That's my brother from another mother. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Tennessee is one of the top. Tennessee is one of the top 500 songs of all time, not rap songs. Star Spangled Banner, Let It Be, Billie Jean, Tennessee.
Tennessee is a really great record.
That's
you see, I just did the sample. I haven't heard this song in a long time, and I just did the sample.
I love it.
Right?
Happy birthday to my brother, man.
Man, much love to him, man. Shout out to the homie All In. Thank y'all for checking in these chats, going crazy. Bella Mac, I see you popping it. Can we please normalize rappers shaming other rappers like Dirk on telling on themselves? You can't tell on yourself, All In. That's your choice to be accountable. Like this weird kind of mainstream perspective where people keep using the term snitch on yourself, that don't fit. It doesn't work that way. Like you can grab somebody like you can how do I? What's the right?
I mean, like, look, in that case, that's not the whole case.
Yeah.
Okay. And quite honestly, I'd be willing to bet, without going through all of his lyrics, he probably says something like that about every song. And I bet there's about 500 other rappers out there in the genre that say something also very similar to that on almost just about every song. So it's like, at what point is it? I mean, come on.
I can't get into that. I can't get into that whole people
like Drake uses that line.
Yeah, it's like that just it's way complicated. That's somebody I was thinking about, and I wanted to talk about it. I'm gonna bring you on our podcast, Twine, where we talk about this. I wanted to talk to Pete. I'm trying to get somebody I know is a homicide detective to come in, see if I can get him to come in. But just about this thought when we talking about what's happening for real in this type of culture. Like again, my job is to bring a different perspective so people can see it. That's the whole goal. Straight up. So
you call it what you do. You call it what you do, 7th Street. I already told you. Every time I tell you something, that's some real shit when I tell you.
I believe it. I believe
you on the incline, bro. I love it.
I ain't nowhere else to go, but be a part of the perspective. Miss 702 Glasses, are you ready to do your TED Talk? I never watched a TED Talk.
Pete, we going to eat real food when I come out to the land.
In Dirk case, he literally described the scene of the crime.
I gotta get out there.
I'm in Miami. It's not about. That's not what he didn't tell on himself. Somebody told on him all in, but. Again, like sometimes, and this is where this conversation started, where it's like, if you don't quite understand that world, it's sometimes better just to hold back. Like having a keyboard and a text pad on your phone don't mean you have to say something as if you're in the know of it. And forgive me, I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying you don't have to say anything, bro. You don't got to say nothing. Like the case is much more complicated than them hearing a rap song and say, "Oh, he told us what he did. He saw the case. He saw the crime scene. Let's arrest him." Again, if people choose to artistically express themselves in that department, that's their choice. That's the artist. Feel me? Like that's on them. I don't want to normalize rappers shaming rappers. The only thing I'm shaming rappers for in 2025 is being on dope. That's my whole campaign in 2025. Song after song of all you niggas being on dope. That's what my songs are about. I got my first 3 single coming out is about you niggas being on dope. That's what I'm shaming. I don't want to shame you from fighting against other people that want to fight you. I don't want to shame you about nothing else but y'all being on dope because y'all need to get off dope. I'm tired of y'all being on dope. I wish I
got a problem with you. I got a problem with you being 21 and looking like you 45. Face sunk in, you can't keep no weight on you. Like I'm not being condescending. It's really concerning, bro. Here in Milwaukee, that's a problem, bro. I be seeing these young bloods. It's like, why is your face sunk in? Like, what are you doing, bro? Like you're more than half my age. Like, you're supposed to be vibrant and strong, bro. Like, why do you look like you older than me?
Shout out to DT, who's ending the chat. Tacos deleted, back to work. Good shit, fellas. Much love. And that's why we do the lunch hour. For all the people that got jobs, that's intelligent, that's at your job, and you ain't finna throw your life away. This is why we give y'all the perspective to keep y'all in the know right here for that lunch hour. And we finna get up out of here. We owe Twine a chicken Big Mac, so I got to get that to him. And we in the game, brother. So
don't you ever, bro. Don't ever. You better get me some Five Guys or something. You better not get me no damn chicken Big Mac.
Click the thumbs up on the YouTube when you get on. Again, this is the No Ceilings Live lunch hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time. Click the link below in the bio. Subscribe to the No Ceilings podcast. Again, Tuesday, it's a great podcast going up on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcast, where we jump into the whole Dirk situation and what's going on in the streets and combined with hip hop. And it's just going to be an incredible conversation. So subscribe to the No Ceilings podcast link below right there. And we back here Monday at noon, man. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend.
Great work, Glasses. Always, family. Pete.